With Enshrouded being an early access game, it's really hard to tell what exactly is going to be there come launch, right? And I figured with how much time I've spent in the game, I thought it would be a good idea to basically make a video on where they can improve, right? So in this video, I'll be talking about some things I think that they need to address, bug fixes, balancing, things like that, and then also some features that I think this game would really benefit from. Now, spoiler alert, I know that there are some things I'm going to talk about in this video that is going to be almost impossible for them to pull off. And also a couple of ideas that I know a lot of you probably will not like. But either way, I think it's a really good opportunity for us as a community to talk about these things. So anyways, let's get started. So the first one on this list is something that they're kind of already working on, or at least they confirmed it, is character-specific progression. Currently, I believe the way that the progression works in the game is it's tied to a player that starts the server or whoever hosts it, and that kind of just defeats the purpose of a dedicated server. What they need to do, and what I hope they're doing, is going to make it so that the servers end up working kind of like how they do in the game Conan Exiles, which is kind of similar to this game. In Conan Exiles, each server is independent, and when a player builds something on the server, they can log off, and any other people that end up going on that server, they can see what that person has built there, right? And on top of that, I really hope that the way the quest progression works in the game is tied to the player specifically. So that way, if you go to a server that, the host has pretty much done everything, you should be able to go to that server as well, just as a fresh character, and be able to progress everything like independently by yourself. But anyways, like I said, they are working on this right now, so it'll be interesting to see what they come up with. The next feature that I would really love to see in this game is water. As I've been running around the world and just exploring and having a good time, there's always been something in my mind that just felt like it was missing, right? And for me, I feel like that was water. They did such a great job of making this world just really beautiful looking and super immersive, and I feel like without water, it just kind of like takes away from that. But I can totally understand why they have not put that in the game yet, or just didn't do it entirely, and that's obviously because of how the game is built, right? Voxel-based games and terrain is just incredibly hard to deal with implementing water in, so I could definitely see them struggling to put that in the game, and then, ultimately deciding to cut it from the game because it was just too hard. But either way, I would love it if they could try to make it work. Now, if they do put water into the game, I think a game that does water really well that's very similar to them is Valheim. I think the water physics in that game is just phenomenal, and I think it would make this game so much better. This one's for all you role players out there, but we should be able to sit in our chairs. It kind of blows my mind that in a game where you can set up a base and add all kinds of furniture and things like that to your town or your house or whatever, is the fact that you can't actually sit in any of the chairs or anything like that. Now, granted, you can lay down in a bed, which is cool, but why can't we sit in chairs? I feel like this would be a really simple fix, but they definitely need to add this. This next one is more quality of life focused, and it's something that I really hope they add to the game, and that is basically making it so that when you guys are harvesting trees or rocks or anything like that, instead of having the resources drop onto the ground and you have to go over there and pick them up and collect them, it should just be that they automatically deposit into your bags. We already have this when it comes to mining through dirt and digging down into the ground, so why can't we just do it with trees and other stuff like that? It feels weird to me. Okay, it's time for the fun police, because now I'm going to talk about a couple of ways that I think they need to nerf and prevent people from just endlessly farming stuff. I think they need to find a way to basically put a cooldown timer on looting treasure chests and killing bosses. Now, obviously, I've been guilty of doing this, and I even created a video on how to farm some stuff really quickly, but I feel like it kind of takes away from the game, right? Creating a base nearby an area and then just endlessly looting chests and then logging off, logging back in, and just rinse and repeating is very cheesy, and I feel like it just kind of ruins the fun and the experience of the game. So what I think they should do is create some kind of internal timer, right? And make it so that if you guys have looted a chest or killed a mini boss, when you guys reset the game and go back in, basically the treasure chest that you looted previously or that mini boss that you killed, they will not show up. So you're gonna have to wait 5 minutes and then reload the game before they'd pop back in. I think if they do something like this, it will definitely cut back on people trying to just endlessly farm stuff. If you guys watch my previous videos, you know that I hate arrows, and I feel like crafting arrows is just really annoying. So what I think that they should do is kind of go the same route that they did with spells and create eternal arrows. I don't even care if crafting eternal arrows was a real pain in the butt, because at the end of the day, once you get those eternal arrows, you would literally have unlimited arrows to use and you wouldn't have to farm anymore. Or they could totally lean into the magic side of things and give us a talent tree ability that's called magic missile or something like that. Either way, it just feels really weird and awkward in a game where you have eternal spells, but you don't have eternal arrows. So again, if you watched my previous video on classes, you know that I said that two-handed weapons are kind of weak and they feel a little awkward to use in combat, so I feel like two-handed weapons definitely need a buff here. I think a real simple fix for this would to just be implement two-handed greatswords into the game and make those be like the big kind of like AoE crowd control two-handed weapons. So the two-handed greatsword would just do a ton of AoE damage, and then definitely increase the single target damage of like the two-handed mace, things like that. And then also, I don't know, maybe kind of like trim up the attack animations on them because they just feel really unforgiving, and when you get locked into that attack animation, you're prone to getting annihilated. Speaking of nerfs and buffs, I think the wands and spells in this game definitely need some nerfs to them. Wands are just incredibly strong, and then also when it comes to spells, especially the acid bite one, that one definitely needs a nerf. I don't think we should be able to just kill a boss in like 1 to 2 casts, but that's just me. And you know what, honestly, I think for me it's more of just like the disparity between the effectiveness of certain spells. You know, acid bite or acid breath or whatever it's called just does so much damage, and then I try to cast like a fireball on something and it does nothing. So I definitely feel like they need to kind of like adjust the resistances in this game, so that way things are more kind of like balanced, I guess. Another thing that I think we need to have in this game is daggers and also dual wielding. It's kind of weird that we have like a rogue type archetype in this game, but we don't have daggers. So I think they definitely need to add those into the game. I mean, obviously the tech for dual wielding is definitely in the game. Some of the enemies do have dual wielding weapons, so I think that wouldn't be a big issue here. But yeah, definitely I think they need to add daggers to the game for sure. Okay, now let's talk about armor. So there's 3 things I really want to talk about when it comes to armor. First thing is I would like to see better itemized armor in the game, or maybe even just randomized stats on gear. It pains me to see, in my opinion, the coolest looking set in the game have increased unarmed damage. So if I could find a version of this set that, you know, tailors directly to the types of weapons I'm using, that would be really cool. Also, we definitely need a salvage button for armor. It's really weird and annoying that you have to delete the armor items to get rid of them. And also, I really hope that they go back and make the crafted armor a little bit more desirable, because as it stands right now, there's really no point to doing that. You can just go out and farm the armor that you want to get right now, and that stuff just costs time instead of resources and time. For the last item on this list, I want them to add lockboxes into the game so that way players can't just like come into my game, steal my crap and leave. It really sucks that I have to be forced to just play with my friends instead of a bunch of random people, which I would love to, you know, meet and play around with, but I can't because I'm worried someone's going to take my stuff. So yeah, definitely add lockboxes to the game. And that is where we're going to end it for today. If you enjoyed this one, let me know by leaving a like on this video as well as subscribing to the channel. But before you go, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section. Do you guys agree with what I said here, or do you think I missed something? Also, if you like my content and would like to support me, do consider clicking that join button at the top of my page. The lowest tier is just $1, so if you guys don't want to spend a lot but would still like to support me, that is definitely a viable option. Thanks again for watching. I'm still Solo, and I'll see you guys in the next one.